because of the Caney Circle, we have essentially standardized what we do and how we celebrate our indigeneity. We have a schedule, a yearly schedule of ceremonies that we offer the communities, not just here in Pittsburgh, but all over the place. In New York State, in Florida. We have Behiques in Florida, we have Behiques in New York State, we have Behiques in a number of different places. We have a Behique in training in Puerto Rico, in Behike. And these ceremonies, everywhere that the Caney Circle is, we have the same ceremonies. Every full moon, there's a ceremony that is celebrated usually on the weekend closest to the full moon. So a Saturday or Sunday. But I mean, some Behiques choose to do it on the weekday, and if it's okay, if in that community it works. But in most communities, people work on the weekdays. So we choose the weekend closest to the full moon. Like here, we're going to have it on Saturday. Oftentimes we have it on Sundays. But this coming Saturday, is going to be on a Saturday instead. And what happens is a set schedule of ceremonial practices that we do on a regular basis every month. So that's how we express this tradition, is through these ceremonies. And it's no different from any other culture, any other tradition. You go to any other tribe, and most of these tribes have the same thing. There are certain specific ceremonies that have certain things that happen, when they're supposed to happen. Are very female inclined. The full moon ceremony happens to be very female inclined. Okay? So the important roles during the ceremonies, this ceremony, are performed by a woman. Now, what is a woman? that's the thing. So we have become more open to the idea of, say, transgenderism, two-spirit, the concept of two-spirit. So that's all, we accept all of those definitions and all of those explanations. That's all part of what we do. So that said, during the full moon ceremony, we have the opening ritual, which is the same in every ceremony. You lay a sheet on the ground, and you lay certain ritual objects on that sheet. A very important element of that altar on the floor, it's a circle of little stones, 28 stones, representing the 28 days of the monthly cycle. And that's not just for full moon ceremonies, that's any ceremony gets that altar, that 28 stone altar. Appropriate semis, we got semi of Atabe, semi of Yokahu, Yokahu in two manifestations. So Yokahu, we have Yokahu, because of his cycle of life, we have him as a living, active entity and as a dormant, in quotation marks, dead manifestation. Right? So that's Yokahu. So there's two manifestations of Yokahu, the Lord of Life. As we, in Taíno tradition, like in most indigenous tradition, there's no such thing as eternal life. Life and eternal are inconsistent with each other because the nature of life is cyclical. Life begins with birth and ends in death, and then there's a rebirth. So the idea of something living forever, like in some old world cultures, like European culture, of like deities that live forever, like the Greek gods couldn't die. That doesn't fit within the framework of indigenous tradition. If it's alive, it has to die. Right? So Yokahu is alive. Yokahu is the spirit of life. So he is born of the womb of Atabe, grows to full maturity, and then dies, and then is reborn again. Just like all living things, is that cycle. Right? So all of that is represented on the altar in the form of semis. We usually use smaller semis, but you can, it's up to the Behique, what size semi. If the Behique has the chops, the artistic chops, to create some large, heavy-duty semis, all power to you, So for Behiques that don't have that kind of talent, we try to provide smaller semis, usually about this size, to put on their altar, to populate their altar with that. And then they do the beginning ceremony. There's always, in the initial ritual, there's always the use of tobacco. Tobacco is very sacred. So we smoke the tobacco. The Behique can smoke the tobacco in the form of a pipe or a cigar. Usually we use a cigar because that's more Taíno, okay? Now, until recently, it was like you light the cigar, you pass it around for everybody. But then COVID came. So now we have little mini cigars and we pass, everybody gets their own cigar, okay? And you can smoke your own cigar, no passing around of one cigar, all right? So these are, this is a new era. Same thing with the pipe, we're not passing the pipe around anymore. So that is all part of and then a full moon ceremony where it becomes specified, is where the full moon ceremony where it honors the double light of the full moon. A woman or girl is given the honor of coming to light the two lights, whether it's 2 torches or 2 candles or 2 oil lamps, doesn't matter. What we teach our Behiques is it can't be something that's going to give the woman trouble to light. That's a very important training. We don't want the woman out there in front of all these people having trouble lighting this thing and feeling silly or feeling stupid, okay? We don't want this person to leave the ceremony feeling bad about themselves. So we train the Behique. You got to make this, it's very important, you got to make this easy to light. So when she does that, it lights easily, it lights perfectly, and it stays lit, and it doesn't make her look foolish. So she comes off feeling like she really did something, accomplished something important, right? Then the 2 lights are set, and she says the sacred words. This light represents the double light of the full moon. And then then there are some other ones. Once she's done lighting the 2 candles or 2 torches or whatever, then there is a prayer that she says. And it goes like this. We women have within us the rhythm of the universe, ever constant and steady, the 28-day cycle of life. We women are each one a manifestation of the Earth Mother, who with her cycles of life and death brings about the reality that we call existence. Those are the sacred words. And then there's a song. Warishe wakia ba areito wature. Warishe means women. Wakia means ours. Ba, have. Areito means, you know the word areito. Areito means like a dance or a song or a rhythm ceremony, an event in which singing is done. Okay? So the rhythm, the singing. And wature, I told you before, our heaven, our cosmos, universe. Okay? All right. Everybody sings. Wariche wakiaba areito wature. Wariche wakiaba areito wature. Ariche wakiaba areito wature. Wariche wakiaba areito wature. Wariche wakiaba areito wature. And then we sing that for a while, and then it's over. And once the song is done, the ceremony is over.